Yo, what's going on, everybody? It's McCreepers, and welcome back to another video. Today, I'm going to be kind of showing you guys, not necessarily, I would say, yeah, kind of how to use Ichigo and more like so explain why he's actually really good. Especially because I feel like a lot of people, if you ask a lot of people what's like the weakest units from this update are, they're probably going to say Uryu or Ichigo. And I just kind of want to show you why he's actually really good. But starting off, we have his base stats here, which are nothing impressive. 18k damage every 7 seconds. The reason why he can become so good and get so much value is because of these passives right here. So essentially, his first passive makes it so that every single time you lose a life stock, you gain 20% damage and 10% range. And then his second passive right here makes it so that every single upgrade that he has gives him an additional 5% damage and 2.5% range on top of this 20% damage and 10% range when you lose a life stock. So if I hypothetically had him at upgrade, let's say 5, we're going to do 6 just to make math a little bit easier. So if I were to lose a life right now, I would get an actual 20% damage and 10% range. And then on top of that, a 30%, another 30% damage, and then another. Alright, since my dumbass was struggling to explain this, essentially all I was trying to say is that in total you'll get a 50% damage buff as well as a 25% range buff if you were to lose one life at this point. So I think maybe if you understand why that's kind of good, on top of the fact that the next really big thing about it is that whenever you lose less life stock, you also get plus 500% damage on the next attack. As you can kind of understand where I'm going with this, you'll maybe start to see why he's as good as he's actually pretty good. So essentially here, what I'm going to do is we're going to lose essentially our first life stock here. Let's say I lost a life stock. Ichigo has 82k now because this is his nuke attack. That was his nuke attack. It did 82,000. And then these are his normal stats now. And then that's the thing, but you can lose up to 2 lives before you're fine, or before you die. So let's, lose another life here. 145,000. You probably saw that for a millisecond. I'll probably pause it for you guys. But that's at 145,000 damage. So in total for nuke attacks, he does 220,000 damage for 50,000. That's the thing. He only costs 50,000 to max out. And the reason why that's such a big deal is when you have somebody like Gilgamesh, you'll see here 545. In order to get his nuke, it costs us around 70,000, and it does significantly less damage in total. All right, I'm going to kind of just highlight my main point here. So this thing is, Gilgamesh costs around 70k and you get a 125k damage nuke from him, versus Ichigo in total does 220,000 damage for 50k. So already there you can see it's a lot different. However, that being said, Ichigo's nuke is temporary. It lasts one time versus Gilgamesh is on a recharge. So there's a whole argument that can be made there. That's up to you guys to decide. But the thing is, too, with Ichigo is that you can do that nuke for every single Ichigo you have. So you can in total, you can have around 660k damage for 150,000 yen, which is essentially the equivalent to 2 normal saber with their Excalibur attacks. And that in total is still going to be, that amount of damage is going to be for 3 Ichigos 660k. And it costs around 150k. Saber is going to be, it's going to be 2 sabers, and it's probably going to do closer to 700,000 damage, but it's also going to cost around 160,000 yen, I believe. All right, so what you're watching here, seeing here, is me actually using Ichigo in a game to show that he is usable. He isn't completely dog shit. And in case you're wondering, I'm doing the Legend Stage 3 of the new, Bleach map, or also just the Yamamoto stage. So this is, I feel one of the harder stages, and this is solo, by the way, and with no good trade. You can see what my team is in essentially no ascensions. So this is kind of the footage. I'll play it, in like probably two times speed, and I'll kind of not. I'll probably do it faster than that, but you get the point. I'll come back to like when I'm trying to highlight something important. All right, so I'm gonna put it back in normal speed here since I kind of want to talk about some things. So you'll first of all see that I only got one of my sabers to their full AOE attack, and I only placed two sabers down to begin with. And here you'll see me start to work on getting one of my Ichigos to fully leveled out or fully maxed out. So I'm able to actually make full use of his nuke. And unfortunately here I'm only able to get afford to get one Ichigo maxed out, but regardless that's still 200,000 damage. So I'll kind of just cut to when you can kind of see how much damage he's doing against Yuha. Alright, so at this point, Aizen already spawned, and you can see I kind of go over to Ichigo 7 to target bosses just to make sure that when I activate the nuke, he actually hits Aizen, or not Aizen, Yuha with it, so, it isn't like he wastes his attack. But essentially, you can see I'm just looking at Eisen here. Or, God, I keep saying Eisen. I'm sorry. I'm looking at Yuha here, and you will see I'm just waiting for that barrier to go down because if you didn't know already, he's immune to damage while he has those like that barrier up or cloak up, that black like aura with eyes you can see around him. I'm waiting for that to go down to actually curse a unit and get rid of one of my livestocks for Ichigo, and you'll see right here his shield is down, so I curse my unit, and you'll see immediately, or not necessarily immediately, but real soon, he will take just a massive amount of damage. And then I would use the next one, and you'll see 145,000, and you should see his health essentially get cut in half here. So that's at this point, the fight is pretty much over, because he has 136k. So we essentially got rid of three-fourths of his health with essentially just two attacks, which isn't bad whatsoever. Especially since literally I have two DPS units really here. One of them being Saber, who's doing anything around like 20 to 38k, and then Ichigo, who's now doing 40k, which is still really good, mind you. It's better than a maxed out, or not maxed out, yeah, maxed out Gilgamesh. So maybe this video kind of helps you see that like he isn't horrible. It's just he's kind of weird to use, and it can take some setup to maximize his potential. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one.